Hello, the Grad Checker.
Hi there, could you put me through to the Gennaro room, please?
1 second. Jason. Okay.
Thanks.
Hello?
Liam.
How you doing?
No, well, and you?
Very good, very good.
I think you've got to take your record company to task. I can't believe that they're making you speak to the entire world in 2 days.
No, it's been alright, man. You know, it's got to be done. So it's important to tell people about the record, what it's about. You know, spread the word out.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations. I got a copy of it late last week. A phenomenal return.
Thanks a lot. It's a different record, and we're all really excited about it. You know.
Mm-hmm. And as everyone would say, a while in coming, but sometimes the wait is well worth it.
Sometimes. Yeah. No, it was a definite journey, this record, but you know, I think there's a story behind why it took so long. Do you want me to tell you?
You can give me the pre-seed version, yeah.
I'll give you this quick version. So basically, like, you know, toured a lot off the last album up until 2000, very tired. We're kind of all fed up with each other. I decided to take a year and a half off, just, you know, go drinking with my friends, just having a good time. Started working on a record halfway through 2001. Wrote 5 tracks. One of them was Baby's Got a Temper.
Yep.
Released that track halfway through 2002. Decided that the record was actually like a sonic description of the band at that time. It was a complete mess, and just I think that I'm glad the record came out because it displayed a new way forward. So after that point, I decided I'd bin the tracks I've written for the new record. So we got rid of those tracks, and that took me to the end of 2002. I just decided then to start completely again. I started by my studio in Essex, and found that I just was completely blank. I just didn't have a way forward, and I messed around for 4 months. I believe I went a bit crazy in that time, went a bit mad, and kind of was in a cocoon, just me and my producer, and decided after 4 months to get the hell out of my house, locked the studio door, brought a laptop, and just went mobile, and just, you know, I could go to New York, I could go to London, I could just travel around, writing music, getting inspiration from different places, and I was just inspired from things going on around me, you know.
Sure.
And that was when 2003 March was when I started writing the record. So a couple of false starts, but eventually got myself into the right headspace, and then got it on, you know.
Was it difficult in a way, because I mean so much had happened, and I'm sure at that point, you know, with music having evolved and you being responsible for a lot of that evolution, I suppose, you know, that you sort of think, well, you know, the expectation on you, you know, the longer it took, the greater the expectation.
I think the greatest pressure was before Baby's Got a Temper in that time period there, because that was if you think that was the next thing I did after Fat the Land. Yeah. So after that record came out, and it wasn't a good record. The expectation was down. So like people didn't expect. People were like Prodigy, oh well, you know, they did Baby's Got a Temper, that wasn't very good. Do you know what I mean? So the expectation was already low. So I think the biggest pressure time was before that record came out, and a lot of the pressure always comes from myself, just because that's the way I am, that's the type of person I am.
Sure.
So I think that with when I was on the right track, I didn't feel pressurised because I was just happy, and I found my hole, if you were.
Yeah. But now, does it matter to you that this record does well because of what you've done?
I already feel successful because I like my record. I think people who, I don't know how, I judge success on like being able to travel around the world and play this music to people. Sure. I mean, it's a different market out there now. Do you know what I mean? We can't. No band can rely on record sales anymore. It's a completely different thing than it was 7 years ago. Sure. I mean, and I think no one's under any illusion. Do you know what I mean? That any band now is going to do the same damage as I was going to do 7 years ago. So, like I said, the success is based upon like us being able to play our gigs, and to some extent, like record sales are kind of the less important thing now, just because of the marketplace. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, the last point I could be happy is when I was in the studio. It's basically that's the last point. The record is personal to me, and then now the whole world will get it soon. And it's very important to be happy at that last stage. You know what I mean? I really was, you know.
Sure, and I mean you've already achieved so much success. I suppose you could argue that, in a way, you've proved a point to yourself that you could do this and you could do it extremely well. So now you do it because you can, not because you have to.
But I still have to, because I'm still hungry for it. I have to write music because I don't do anything else. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, if I did it just for fun, I'd be very lazy about it. Do you know what I mean? I do it because I can't do anything else, and I like to constantly prove to myself that I can rock the beats. Sure. And if I got lazy and just thought, I'll just do it for fun, I probably wouldn't bother going on tour. I'd just be too laid back about it. So, but I think it's fair to say I'm just all me, Keith and Maxim. We're all really hungry to get back on the road and play these tracks. Do you know what I mean?
Is this your best record?
I think it's my best album all the way through. I think, like, Fat the Land, if I can, because I'm allowed to pick my own music.
Sure.
I think like Fat the Land had some killer tunes on it, but it wasn't consistent. I think it was a tool to play live.
Sure.
I think Jilted Generation was quite flawed in some of it. It was too long, and also sometimes too varied. It was kind of quite a mixed up album, and I think this album for me is like an album that you can listen to in your car.
Yeah.
It's quite a sexy album, but it's also quite a different album in the way it's quite varied as well. It kind of goes from kind of being quite dancey to quite sort of kind of punk rock in places.
Yes,
I mean?
Yes.
But I think it's I'm really happy with the record. I mean, it's up to other people to decide that, but I know I like it, you know.
And then the people that that guest on the album, I mean, you've got a great mix of people too, and I mean, people will look to that and go, wonder what the inspiration was behind getting someone like Juliette Lewis involved.
Well, the inspiration was that she had a wicked voice, and it was totally unexpected. Do you know what I mean? People wouldn't expect to hear her appearing on a Prodigy record.
No.
And my friend in LA, he went to one of her gigs in the Viper Rooms, rang me up, and he was like, I've just been to see this band, Juliette Lewis and the Licks. And he goes, you got to check it out. And he goes, it was actually Juliette Lewis, the actress. And I was like, oh yeah, and he's like, no, check the voice out. So I got hold of her voice, spoke to a management company, and just was really excited about it. When I heard the voice, just thought this could be really off the wall, and kind of just quite a bizarre collaboration. So I pressed her to I got hold of her, and just she was really excited about making a weird track, and we ended up doing this track Hotride.
Yes.
It's quite off the wall, and she came over to London and we recorded it. We messed around with different ideas, and just the idea of injecting a bit more humour back into the Prodigy, as far as it's like a twisted humour with Hotride. It's like we stole the lyric off The Fifth Dimension, Up and Away My Beautiful Balloon.
Yes.
And it's just, when people hear the lyrics, it's kind of the twisted humour that was in Smack My Bitch Up and Firestarter.
Yes, very much.
It's like a cheekiness and a kind of I'm deadly serious about my music. Do you know what I mean? But
sure.
I know when it's cool to me, it's when it's kind of just comfortable with itself, and it's kind of cheeky. And I think Girls, the single, has got that as well, and I think we've lost that with Baby's Got a Temper. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Taking ourselves far too seriously with that record.
And then, I mean, the balance of the people that you wanted on the record, was there thinking, or was it a case of just saying, you wanted Liam on the record just because it seemed right?
Well, basically, first of all, I wanted this record not to be collaboration heavy. So
exactly. Yeah.
I chose three tracks which were full vocals all the way through. One of them was Twister, one of them was Mr. Gallagher, and one of them was Juliette Lewis.
Yes.
And all the other those tracks are really like the Liam Howlett side of the Prodigy album. The other tracks are more traditional Prodigy tracks. A track like Spitfire. Yeah. It's like one of my favourite tracks on the album. It opens the album and it's a track of intent. It just starts and it sounds like World War IV is about to start.
It does, yeah.
And it just drops, and it's going to be a good live tune, that, and it just it's a very simple primal tune that will just kind of connect with people on a raw energy level. Do you know what I mean? Much the same as kind of Smack My Bitch Up did. That type of kind of direct message. Do you know what I mean?
And did you? I mean, it sounds like you went to a lot of different places. You know, that all from the point of view that you try to incorporate as many sounds, like almost literally. You know, if you trawled through your entire record collection to expose yourself and make sure that the record represented, in some ways, probably the last 30 years of music.
One thing I didn't do on this album was I didn't listen to a lot of new music. I mean, I always get attracted by kind of Middle Eastern melodies and stuff.
Yes.
So I think there's a lot of stuff like that on this album. But one thing I didn't do was I didn't go out to listen to lots of music. I tried to get influenced by things that were going on around me for everyday life, like a walk. I had a studio in Stoke-Newington, Hackney. I'd walk down the high street and just go into different shops and just kind of, it's a very colourful area, and you know, people play lots of music, and I'd just go home after listening, walking down the street, and then write a track based around what I remember, you know. So it was written in a completely different way, this album. I think the Fat of the Land was written around a live period when we were constantly playing live, constantly watching bands, and that's what makes this album different. It's kind of like just drawing on different influences. There's a lot of 80s kind of, it's more flashy, more sexy, you know.
Nice, yeah.
A lot of 80s influences in it.
Yeah, and are you going to not repeat the mistakes of the past, in the sense that you know, like you did on the last record, that you toured so heavily that you literally alienated yourselves from one another, or is it going to be a slightly different approach?
Well, I think we're all a bit wiser now, and we kind of like, I think that we'd learnt the way to do it. You know, we have to make sure there's time. If we want this band to continue, we have to make sure there's time to record music, and it's just planning better. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of being a bit more wise and a bit more kind of streetwise when it comes to figuring out when we need time to write music and stuff. You know, but I mean, we want to get out there and play live and work hard to rock it. You know, and just do our jobs. You know.
Yeah, because in a way, I mean, you know that your market's very, very fickle. I mean, I think every album you bring out, you make it more difficult for yourself because they know what you can do. So in a way, I mean, this is a very important record for you, isn't it?
They're all as important as each other. I think like no one can afford to be relaxed about any situation. Do you know what I mean? I think as well with each different album, from album 2 to album 3, we lost fans, but we picked up new ones. From the previous album to this one, we'll lose fans and we'll pick up new ones. So it's just about getting out there and playing live and ramming it down people's throats. You know what I mean? So
the next 2 years of your life are taken up, I'm sure. Well, Liam, I know your time is at a premium. I think I've taken my time. But thank you very much for taking time to talk to us.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
And all the best.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.